Good morning children. Welcome back to this beautiful platform of Anand Prakash Educational Academy. I am Chanda Bansal, Director of Anand Prakash Educational Academy, and we have been giving coaching for JEE, NEET, 10th and 12th board exams as well as all home exams with all wonderful results. Children, what is the reason for getting such wonderful results? It is we are there with the children at all the levels. We try to simplify the things so that you can understand it in one part itself. And plus, you are able to understand all the basics as is being taught to you. 10th class chemistry is very easy. Only this is the year where you can lay your strong foundation. Your basics can be made very strong. And if you ignore, this thing will go on till 11th and 12th, and you will really feel that it is so difficult. Chemistry is so difficult. But on the other hand, if you follow all the rules and you concentrate, you focus on clearing the concepts, making the basics strong, because the foundation has to be strong to lay a very big building. So, to make this foundation strong, you need to know the chemical formulas, you need to know how to write the reactions, you need to write the formulas in the form of the reactions, means you need to decode the language of chemistry. You should know how to do that. And once you are very thorough with that, believe me, children, you are going to be at the top, because whatever is required at this particular stage with little bit of additional knowledge. Why additional knowledge? In 10th class itself, your additional knowledge will increase your mental level. It will help you to expand mentally. You will start visualizing things, you will start thinking. I find children, those who mug up the things. Mugging up the things means you cannot go a far off journey, you cannot travel more. You need to understand, you need to question yourself, answer yourself for the same question, and you should be very, very satisfied with that answer. That is what is studies in 10th all about. So when you slightly increase your level, like we did about the first chapter, that is chemical reactions, we studied about number of reactions. Now what should be your part? You should search on internet and find out some more reactions. Try to make them your friend as well. Like when you are doing the redox reaction, try to find out more redox reactions from net, because here there is a limitation. There is a limitation for all the classes. In the video, we cannot go more with more and more examples. We need to just give you the basics. Again, the time foundation is there for classroom coaching, time foundation is there for the live classes. So, if we have done with you 10 questions, you should expand and you should do say 20 questions, 30 questions. Your criteria should be not only to get very good marks in the exams, but it should be to make a very, very strong base which will help you to understand 11th, and 11th becomes very easy and simultaneously 12th also becomes very easy. Now let us go ahead with the second chapter of chemistry, that is acids, bases and salts. We are going to discuss the outlines about how do you identify about acids, how will you know what acids are. So for acids, it's a simple thing which you have been doing. HCl, you say it is hydrochloric acid. HBr, you say it is hydrobromic acid. HI, you say it is hydroiodic acid. So why these are all called as acids? In the same way, there is H2SO4, you will say that it is sulfuric acid. HNO3, it is nitric acid. Why do you say all these as acid? Because acids are those substances which give H plus ions in the solution. You take HCl, you put in water, it will give H plus ions. So, those compounds which give H plus ions in solution, they are classified as acid, and this theory was given by Arrhenius. So this is called as Arrhenius theory of acid and base. Arrhenius theory of acids and bases. So as per acids, those compounds which give H plus ions in solution. So in all these cases you will find that they are bound to give H plus ions in solution. Similarly, what this base is, base will mean, suppose you write sodium hydroxide, you write barium hydroxide, you write aluminium hydroxide. So what are all these compounds? This hydroxides are written based upon their valencies. That means the compounds which when added in water give hydroxide ions, means those compounds which produce hydroxide ions in solution, they will be called as bases, and these bases are as per Arrhenius theory. Now this is as per a particular theory, but suppose if you are asked that you have to differentiate between acids and bases on the on which method? Based on their physical properties. Then what you will say, acids are those substances which are sour in taste. Bases are those substances which are bitter in taste. If acid falls on the skin, it produces a burning sensation. If base falls on the skin, it is slippery to touch. Acids turn blue litmus to red and bases turn red litmus to blue. So those are all the physical properties for acids as well as bases, right? And here Arrhenius theory, this will be based on the chemical property, means what happens when these substances, they are put in water, how do they dissolve, how do they release their ions, and what happens when base is added to water, how do they release their ions. So on that basis you can classify Arrhenius theory of acids and the bases. Very easily, the moment you come across, you write any formula, you will be able to state that whether it is acid or it is base. Now there were different theories for acids and the bases given. The second theory which was given was by Bronsted. So Bronsted theory of acid and base, what does this mean? It is Bronsted theory of acid as well as base. In Bronsted theory, it is not based upon giving H plus ions or giving OH minus ions. It is based on protons. Proton donors will be acid and proton acceptors will be bases. Let us take one example. Suppose HCl is there. This HCl is added to water. Now HCl is a strong acid, it gives its protons. Proton means it gives its H plus, and this H plus is accepted by water. So water is a Bronsted base because it accepts the proton. HCl is a Bronsted acid because it gives its proton. So what you will find, this will become H3O plus. This H plus will go here, this becomes H3O plus plus Cl minus. This will become Cl minus. So here HCl is changing into a base. What will be the name of that base? This HCl is a Bronsted acid, and this one will be called as a conjugate base. So acid will always change into a conjugate base. This is a base because it is taking the proton. When it takes the proton, it becomes a Bronsted base. I am writing BB. That is a Bronsted base. When it accepts the proton, after accepting the compound which is formed after accepting the proton will be called as conjugate acid. So this will be conjugate acid and the other one will be conjugate base. So simply what do you need to remember? Arrhenius acids are proton donors. Bronsted acids are proton donors and Bronsted bases are proton acceptors. The Bronsted acid will change into conjugate base and Bronsted base will change into conjugate acid. Simultaneously, you need to remember that a strong acid will always form a weak conjugate base. I am just writing in short form, weak conjugate base, and weak acid will form strong conjugate base. This is for acid. In the same way, it is there for the base also. That is, strong base will form weak conjugate acid and weak base will form strong conjugate acid. These are some of the terms which you have to add to your dictionary to understand this chapter. So, conjugate acids, conjugate bases. Now, there is another term which you need to remember, and that is amphoteric compounds. It is amphoteric compounds. Amphoteric means those compounds which can behave both as acid as well as base. Like, let us write one example here. Suppose ammonia is there. Ammonia reacts with water. When it reacts with water, water will give its H plus. You all know that ammonia behaves as a very strong base. So, it is a very strong Bronsted base as well. So, it accepts the proton and this will become NH4 plus and here it will become OH minus. So, this one is a base. Base changes into conjugate acid. Here it is an acid because it is donating the proton. Here water is donating the proton. The previous example here, water was accepting the proton. Means water here is a proton acceptor, means it is a Bronsted base. But water here is a proton donor, means it is a Bronsted acid. So, you will find this is changing into conjugate acid and acid is changing into conjugate base. So, such compounds like water which behave both as acid as well as base are called as amphoteric compounds. So, in this way you need to list number of acids, number of bases, and in the next lecture we are going to take up still some more theories are there for acids and bases, and likewise we will go ahead towards the salts. Different categories of the salts are formed. So, keep watching these videos, like the video, subscribe to the channel as well as press the bell icon so that we are there to help you out with more very good concepts. Till then, thank you so much.